Everything is on. It's it's going to go off today. Welcome to job number 10, 52 at 52. My name is Matt McDowell. It's good to have you here. It's good to have you here. This is job number 10, and it's the last of the high school jobs. Very exciting for you, maybe. With a high school job, there's not a lot at stake. I am going to back up a little bit, because earlier I said that I spent all my money on like coffee. I spent all my money on candy and going to movies. But there was a rule in our family that if you made money, you had to buy your own clothes. And so from grade 8 on, so about 13 years old on, I had to buy all my own clothes. And so because of that, I got to buy whatever I wanted, because if you're buying it, your mom can't say, "Why'd you buy that?" My uniform, as it were, in 8th grade was 501s, Levi 501s, and rock and roll t-shirts. Monday was Jethro Tull, Tuesday was Pink Floyd, Wednesday was Led Zeppelin, Allman Brothers Band, The Who. Boom. There's 5 days, you're good to go. That's all I needed. That's all I would wear. And so I love t-shirts. And the reason I bring that up is because today's job number 10, is t-shirt designer and salesman. The way I stumbled into this was it was a kind of a nice confluence. So when things come together, things came together. What is that called? Confluence? Anyway, enmeshment. There was an enmeshment of events. And these were the events that enmeshed. 1, I was familiar with t-shirts, and I love t-shirts. 2, sales. I had sales experience. And 3, I had to have some sort of design thing. When I was the feature editor for the high school newspaper, I came up with a character named Beanhead. This is a cartoon character, and I would do cartoons. And he had a bowling pin body because I couldn't draw hands or feet. I could draw feet, but it was a bowling pin body, so it was just this head on this bowling pin body, and he looked kind of like a bean. It was a bean-shaped head. So I called him Beanhead. Actually got the high school newspaper canceled because one of the cartoons was deemed to be too offensive, and so they wanted to set up is that later? It's later. That's later. So here's how this came to be. I'm taking a shower, and I'm getting ready to go to the high school graduation practice. We're going to practice how to graduate. We're going to sit in our chairs. We're going to get in order, and we're going to walk up and practice shaking hands. Hello, thank you very much, and get our diploma. And as I'm getting ready for this, it hits me, this great idea. Now, this wasn't a great idea like, hey, what about the internet? Or something like, what if I invented Facebook or Twitter? Which, to be honest, I still don't understand Twitter. I don't understand it at all. So that wouldn't be something that I would invent, because I still don't understand it, why anyone would want to do it or be on it. But I did understand t-shirts because I love t-shirts. And I had this character that I'd created for the high school newspaper. More about him later, Beanhead. And I thought, I should make and sell Beanhead t-shirts at this high school graduation practice. So I got out a clipboard, and I was taking orders, and everyone had to walk past me. And so as they'd walk past me up to the thing, they're waiting, I'm like, hey, do you want to buy a Beanhead t-shirt? And they're like, yeah, sure. And so I'd write their name down, and it's like they're $12 or they're $10. I think they were $10. I think they were $12. My high school graduating class, there were 99 of us. Couldn't quite get to the triple digits, so there's 99 of us, and I'm happy to say that I sold 50 t-shirts. That's over 50% sales. It's pretty good. Those are pretty good odds. That's better than selling lemonade and greeting cards, I'll tell you that much. So I've got all of these orders that I take the day of high school graduation practice. I don't know anything about making t-shirts at all. So let me back up. So the Beanhead, when I said, do you want to buy a Beanhead t-shirt? And if I said this to you, you'd be like, I don't know what you're talking about. But everyone at school knew, because Beanhead was a character that I had created for the high school newspaper. He got the high school newspaper canceled because one time I had an offensive, I guess it was offensive. Here's what it was. It was this Beanhead, and everyone knew he was called Beanhead, but it was never mentioned that it was called Beanhead. It was just kind of a thing. And he's standing there by a sign. He's standing on a road, and there's a sign that says, "Caution, dip in the road." And then the caption just says, "Bean dip." And the vice principal of the school thought I was making some sort of racial reference to, Mexican Americans. It's a bit of a stretch. But then he was like, you know what, we're not going to have this kind of behavior. It's not funny or offensive. It was like, I guess it's kind of funny. And man, I don't know how you could get offended by that because everyone knew he was I don't think the vice principal knew he was named Bean Dip or Beanhead. Sheesh, there I go. But I don't know why that would even be offensive. So he said, okay, you know what? From now on, everything's got to go through me. And I'm going to censor this newspaper. And we were like high school, like freedom of the press. And we're like, no way, we would rather shut down the paper than give in to the man and have our words and images censored. So we shut down the paper. Yikes. Very passionate. So Beanhead got the high school newspaper shut down. And then, so when I said, do you want to buy a Beanhead t-shirt? People are like, yeah, sign of rebellion. Fantastic. I'm thinking to myself, okay, what do I know about designing or making t-shirts? Here's what I knew. Nothing. I'd heard the word silkscreen before, but had no idea. Because again, I have a bit of a printing background, right? So I've got printing, I've got the cartoon character, I've got sales. How hard could it be? I order some kit from mail order kit, like silkscreen, your own t-shirts. And I don't even know what it is, but I order it. And so I get this frame that's the size of a t-shirt, and it's silk. It's a silk screen. And then they have instructions. And so what I have to do is I have to paint everything that I don't want ink coming through, like everything. So basically you're making a negative. You're making a silkscreen negative with paint, with some sort of, it wasn't paint, it was some sort of glue type thing, so that it would fill up all the holes in the silk, and then the ink would just go through on the spots where there was no filler, whatever that thing was called. I'll draw out, I'm going to draw out what I did here. You get to see a Beanhead in action. Hope I can do a good one here. Nothing better than watching somebody draw. That's fantastic. Anyway, here we go. What just happened? What just happened? I got this expression from a Reader's Digest that it said there's three kind of people: those who make things happen, those who watch things happen, and those who wonder what just happened. So this is what I'm gonna put on the t-shirt, right? So it's gonna be like this. You're walking around, hey, what just happened? Pretty funny. What happened? Actually, that was many years later. Like, what happened from some show from that movie with the folk singers, the folk singer movie. Anyway, to do this, I had to, I'm used to using with a pen and just, but you can't do that with a t-shirt. It's got to be thick. And so I had to draw it with a pencil, and again, it was difficult. And my design was okay. It worked out all right. So I've got the silk screen. I've made the silk screen. I've got my reverse image. What do I need now? I need t-shirts. Well, I don't have any money. So again, I borrow some money from my dad. And you can see my dad, he's an entrepreneur enabler. My mom with her designs, and he's like, hey, I want to make some t-shirts. All right, here, that's a good dad to have, who's like, instead of saying you can't do anything, he's like, yeah, you can do this, and here's some money. That's a good way to go. You could have a worse dad. That's all I'm saying. And I make all these t-shirts in my room. I've got a table set up in my room, and I've got the ink, and there's a squeegee, and so you put the ink in the silk screen, and you put the t-shirt down, and it's got to be super flat. I think you put it in cardboard or something like that, so it's nice and flat, and then you squeegee that thing in, and you can't do it too much because it's tricky. And then you've got to hang them to dry. So I've got all these t-shirts hanging around in my room, because they have to lay flat. And I make up these 50 t-shirts. 50 is a lot. When you see a number like 50, you're like, oh, 50. But then when you have 50 t-shirts zipping around your room, it can be kind of overwhelming. These were pre-sold t-shirts, which is fantastic. Then I just had to track the person down, get the money from them, deliver the t-shirt. I remember mailing. I might have got the money right there at the graduation practice. I sell those 50, and that's good to go. And so I'm thinking, oh, I'm onto something here. So I'm going to make some more. I understood something about wholesale. I'd heard the words retail and wholesale, but didn't really understand what they meant. So this was my first experience with the idea of wholesale, because I think I was paying, I don't know, $6 or $7 per t-shirt, these white JCPenney t-shirts. And then I talked to Browns, and that was the big clothing company in town, Brown's. And I went to Milt Brown and I said, hey, I want to get some t-shirts. Can you get me some t-shirts wholesale? He goes, oh, I just happen to have some t-shirts that I bought that haven't sold. I can sell them to you for $1.50. And I'm like, what? $1.50? How much do you sell these for? Oh, like $12. And I'm like, wow, that's how people make money on this planet. So I made up a whole bunch more. But now these were different because I hadn't sold these. These I had to sell. I had to go out there and sell. So how do you sell t-shirts? Well, Tower Records in Chico, California was the place to go. It was pretty hip. It was pretty cool. A record store, and they'd have, blacklight posters, which were just the best, and posters and books and t-shirts. And so I talked to my friend Richard Buckner, famous singer-songwriter, and I said, hey, will you come with me? And I'm going to make a pitch to Tower Records in Chico to see if they'll carry the Beanhead t-shirt. They have no history with the Beanhead t-shirt. They don't know that it got the school newspaper canceled. Instead, they see Rick and I walking in, and we dress in shirts and ties with sport coats. And we have this really hilarious, and I remember this was pretty funny. I wish I still had it. But we had this flip chart that we would talk people through as we would sell this t-shirt. And you can just imagine, we go in there, can we speak to the manager? No. Can we speak to the assistant manager? Sure. And the assistant manager sitting there, they're bored, some college kid that's hipper than we'll ever be. And they're listening to us pitch this Beanhead t-shirt idea. How can you not buy some t-shirts from two high school kids doing that? Well, it was pretty easy because I think we're selling them for $12. Like, we're going to sell these for $24? Or anyway, we didn't sell any. But it was a good presentation. And they said, very professional presentation. I'm not sure to this date any of those people have seen two guys come in and specifically try to sell them one particular t-shirt. It wasn't like a series. It wasn't like, because back then it was the Stoned Again t-shirt, and we were out there with this Beanhead t-shirt. I think they were kind of slightly embarrassed for us because we weren't, again, this is me, kind of cool, but not cool enough for Tower Records, that's for sure. Rick was so cool that he wouldn't even have done it. I don't think if I was like, enthusiastic enough to be not cool, undaunted. What's my next go-to? Well, I'm a newspaper columnist, so I believe in newspapers. And so I take an ad out in the newspaper. T-shirts for sale, Beanhead t-shirts. Again, no one knows what I'm talking about, but I'm like, wow, what's going to happen while these orders come in? I have my phone number there, but no one's home during the day. And so I borrow Meredith Carlin's parents' answering machine. No one had an answering machine back then. They had an answering machine, and I borrow it. Say, it runs on the big cassette tapes, and I go, hey, can I borrow this for just like a week or two because I'm gonna put an ad in the paper, and so when people call up, they can leave an order. So I take out an ad in the paper, in the big paper, the Chico Enterprise, not the Gridley Herald. Who's gonna read that? Guess how many calls I get? 0. Nothing. No orders, no calls, but still, undaunted. They had this place in Stockton called Denio's Farmers Market, and you would hear about this place on the radio and on TV, and I'd never been there. It was like, Denio's Farmers Market, come on down and and you get your... And so I talked to my friend Mark D. Nakata, and I said, hey, will you come down with me, and we're going to sell t-shirts at Denio's Farmers Market. So I call up Denio's Farmers Market, and I have to rent a booth. Stockton, which is named after cattle. It's a cattle place, and it's a farmer's market. It's like a flea market for people who don't want to spend money on anything, but just want a bunch of stuff. Pre-Walmart days, right? And we put up all the t-shirts, these What Just Happened t-shirts. We may not have been cool enough for Tower Records, but we were a little too cool for Denio's Farmers Market. We sat there all day long watching people go by, and I don't think anyone even stopped at our booth. They'd stop at our booth, and some of the cooler people would look at it, and they'd chuckle, and they'd go, how much are these? And we go, $12. And they would just slowly put it back. Because there was a booth across from us that was selling t-shirts for something like, 5 t-shirts for $9.99. And we're selling one for $12. Wrong market. We didn't sell any t-shirts. The parade of flesh and humanity to this day was a little shocking to me. I came home a little unnerved. It was not pretty. Denio's Farmers Market. I wonder if it's still there. It was grim. It was a little bit grim for two young men from a small town trying to make their fortune. Did not sell a single t-shirt at Denial's Farmers Market. Eventually, I sold all of the t-shirts. I can't remember how I ended up selling those other ones. People have them. I used to have one for years until I just wore it threadbare. I made a movie that we'll hear about later, and I had one of my main characters. He wore the t-shirt. But just last month, my niece sent me a picture of her wearing a Beanhead hoodie, which I didn't make. And I'm like, what? Where's this hoodie? And it was black. It was white on black. And where did this come from? Well, my sister, Julie, she got that silkscreen, and she bootlegged it. She made some on her own. Not official. But I guess it is official because it was the actual silkscreen. So some people still tell me, like, hey, I still have my Beanhead t-shirt. When we graduated, I was on this end, and Rick Buckner was on this end because the principal thought we'd be up to some shenanigans, and he did not want us sitting together. Oh, well, we got up to some shenanigans, all right, because we'd made a big banner with Beanhead on it that said, "Hello, Cruel World." And it was on a sheet that I could fold up and put inside my graduation graduation gown. So I'm walking the whole time, the whole graduation, I've got this sheet underneath me that says, that's a Beanhead that says, "Hello, Cruel World." And as soon as Mr. Dressler says, "Welcome to the class of 1982, graduating class," and everybody applauds, I pull this thing out. Rick walks he couldn't have planned it better, because then he walks from this side and I walk from this side. We walk right to the center and we show the banner to the world. "Hello, Cruel World." And then we lay it down on the grass and throw our hats up. And guess what? It made the front page of the newspaper, Gridley Herald. And again, I did not pay my dad back. That was the last time I didn't pay him back, because it's high school. And the stakes when you are at jobs at high school, you don't have a lot of stakes. You're just kind of learning skills. And let's think of some of the skills that I learned. I learned how to make change. I learned how to make food. I learned how to sell door to door. I learned how to create and to design and write. I learned how to be a river guide. I learned how to paste up. That, my friend, is a lost skill that that hopefully is never coming back. I learned how to silkscreen. I learned how to print. I learned how to scoop ice cream. I learned how to mop floors. I learned how to pick up sticks. I learned the difference between mission almonds and nonpareils. Some people don't know that there's a difference between a mission and a nonpareil. I do. So with your high school jobs, you're picking up a lot of life skills, you're learning lots of good lessons, and the stakes are pretty low. All I had to worry about was my the clothes on my back and the candy in my mouth. It sounds like I did nothing but eat candy. Really, I just spent my money on movies and dates. Again, because when I worked at the Scoop, you got a free meal there every time, so I'd eat at the Scoop. My parents took care of the room part, the Scoop took care of the food part, and I took care of the clothes on my back. So the stakes are pretty low. High school jobs, they're a preparation. But a preparation for what? What exactly are you preparing for? That's it for today. Thanks for watching 52 at 52. Please subscribe and tell your friends. Hope you enjoyed this episode. T-shirt sales. I'm always thinking up t-shirt ideas. I love t-shirts. I don't wear them that much anymore. Too fat and happy to wear t-shirts. Got a lot of t-shirts. People love t-shirts. I'm amazed at some of the stuff that people have on their t-shirts. It's just crazy. Mild. Cooler than Denial's Farmers Market. That place. Put some clothes on. Nobody wants to see. What? Nobody wants to see that. Put some clothes on. I know it's hot, but stay inside or put some clothes on, because no one is interested. I wonder if Mark remembers that. I sure do.